So good day everyone. So in this video lesson, we are going to discuss the Rubáiyát of Omar Khayyam, the Astronomer-poet of Persia, book by Omar Khayyam.
Rubáiyát of Omar Khayyam is the title that Edward Fitzgerald gave to his 1859 translation from the Persian to English of a selection of quatrains, attributed to Omar Khayyam in the year 1048, 1131, dubbed Astronomer-poet of Persia. Although commercially unsuccessful at first, Fitzgerald's work was popularized from 1861 onward by Whitley Stokes, and the work came to be greatly admired by the Pre-Raphaelites in England. Fitzgerald had a third edition printed in 1872, which increased interest in the work of the United States. By the 1880s, the book was extremely popular throughout the English-speaking world, to the extent the numerous Omar Khayyam clubs were formed and there was a pharisaical cult of the Rubáiyát. Fitzgerald's work has been published in several hundred editions and were inspired similar translation efforts in English, Hindi, and in many other languages.
Fitzgerald, born in March 31, 1809, at the Bridgefield House, and died on June 14, 1883 at Merton, United Kingdom. Spouse Lucy Fitzgerald and parents John Fitzgerald.
Crying Man. The poet has also demonstrated the character who cries on his fate. Through the depiction of his character, the poet has promulgated the idea that fate is something pre-written and we cannot fight it. Card. There is a character who always drinks wine. It is perhaps the poet himself who considers wine as a means of finding one's motive in life. The drunkard praises wine for making him forgetful about miseries of his past and the fears of his future. Individuals. There are characters of the learned individuals, etc., the doctors and saints. The poet says that these learned individuals consider themselves intellectuals and remain busy in various arguments and dogmas. The poet considers their scholarship useless because it is only led them to prove their point by denying the beliefs of the others.
So summary. The Rubáiyát of Omar Khayyam is a poem of high divine and spiritual meaning. The beauty and simplicity of this poem is so immaculate that people of all faiths and those who have no faith at all can seek divine solace in it. Omar has used popular metaphors in his passionate praise of wine and love. They are mere symbols of sophism, where wine is the joy of spirit and the love is immersed devotion to God. Omar has presented the nectar of divine ecstasy as a delightful alternative that leads to human enlightenment and eradicates human woe permanently. He has pictured the ordinary joys of life, for the worldly men are able to compare the mundane pleasures with the superior joys of spiritual life. The literal meaning of the translated verses is completely absorbed, but the vast inner meaning are all like a golden treasure house. But the spiritual power inherent in this poem is a characteristic of Persian poems which have an outer as well as inner meaning. While the West has interpreted Omar's poems as highly erotic, the East has accepted him as religious poet. Plumbing into the depths of the poem gives interpretations that make it appear like a shrine which is untouched. Omar has distinctly suggested that wine symbolizes extasification of spiritual joy and love. Some translators have interpreted the verses saying that the whole poem is an evocation of agnosticism and has a philosophy which seeks happiness through friendships and avoidance of pain. suggests brevity of life and the absence of an afterlife. The genre is epic poem. The setting of the plays is universal, although the original poem has been written in Persia in the 11th century, but the present version has been written in the 19th century in England. The mood of the poem is childish and innocent, while the tone is pensive, awakening, mystic, daring, and religious.
The major conflict of the poem is between the man and his fate. Man considered fate as something alterable, so he challenged it because of relying of his intellect, and sometimes he tried to challenge it through crying with tears. The poet has conveyed the idea through the poem that fate cannot be changed.
The Rubáiyát by Omar Khayyam expresses the carpe diem or seize the day, a theme that encourages people to enjoy the present moment and make good use of the little time available in life.
The moral lesson of the story of the Rubáiyát is that life is not a straight in line at all. Think of how much you have already done, spoken, seen, lived, and loved. But what's more important is that how much you can still do now in a different way. The time to enjoy life with prosperity and security has come.